Hello everybody, thanks for listening again. Today we're going to talk about eating one meal a day, which is really a type of fasting, which is really a way of eating or a way of living. Now you don't have to do it every day for it to be a way of living, but a lot of people do, and a lot of people really like it. One meal a day, or OMAD as it's commonly known, which of course is just a anagram for one meal a day, OMAD, is really just another tool you can put in your toolbox. And don't be scared. I know my first video on fasting was the least viewed. I think people are afraid of the topic. So anyways, don't be afraid. I know I got a friend out there right now who's doing her first 24-hour fast. And she's really hoping to use it as a tool to control blood sugar. So we wish her the best. And I'm also going to make these videos, try and make them faster and shorter for people, because a lot of people just, get more than like 5, 10, 15 minutes, and they just don't have the patience, I guess. So you don't need to force yourself when you're trying to do these new things. One meal a day is kind of one of those things you get used to, and that in the beginning those meals might last like 2 hours. You might be trying to figure out how much to eat, and you do kind of have to work your way up, because a lot of people have to squeeze more food in, and you might actually have to squeeze in more fat. But don't worry about it. Keep learning. Just like intermittent fasting, but it's another form, really. So you're basically eating once a day within usually a 1 to 2 hour window. That leaves you 23 to 22 hours of fasting, That's awesome. That could be really powerful. It's going to pause the release of insulin for the hours you're not eating. It's going to give your digestive tract a chance to rest while you're not eating. Once it gets done processing that food, it gets to kick back and rejuvenate. Because you got to remember, before the 1980s, people didn't do much snacking. People in the 70s did eat 3 meals a day, but even that isn't really required. That was kind of just a system that evolved, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then we started filling snacks in, and then these crazy weight loss plans where people are eating, 5, 6, 7 times a day, and they're telling you to eat all these, 7 servings of fruits and vegetables, and and then all the snack foods came on the market, and they all taste good, and people like them, and when you live primarily on carbohydrates, you gotta constantly refuel. Like I said, it's really like fasting, and fasting techniques in general, people find liberating. You spend less time eating, you spend less time buying food, you spend less time cleaning up, you spend less money, you spend less time planning. How many times did you go, oh, hey honey, what did you want to eat? I don't know, what do you want to eat? I don't know, what do you want to eat? You're not doing that near as much because you're just not eating as much. Life doesn't have to revolve around it. Some people, they eat a big meal like every 30 hours instead of every 24 hours. And I mean, we're talking top tier athletes here. People when they start fasting or one meal a day, they realize their whole life they've been used to feeling hungry, every 4 hours or whatever, and then getting food, eating food, and then getting hungry again, getting full, getting hungry, getting full, getting hungry several times a day. And when that goes away, you realize it's not necessary, that thing that, like, oh, I feel hungry, I got to do something about it, that's been part of your life every day, just doesn't have to be there. It's a powerful way to control hormones, because it's a powerful way to control insulin. The most powerful way to control insulin is not to eat. You don't eat, insulin goes down. When insulin goes down, something called hormone-sensitive lipase goes up, and it's a chemical that starts circulating in higher concentrations when insulin goes down. It actually breaks up the stored fat and liberates it from the fat cells and allows it to be burned as fuel. So that's just, a little more down the rabbit hole than we normally go as far as the science behind it. Because you can really simplify this by saying when insulin goes down, more fat comes out. When insulin goes up, more fat gets stored. This is just explaining one of the steps as to why that is true. So hormone sensitive lipase really, can be described as unlocking the stored fat, but oftentimes they say the same thing about insulin. So it really goes back to deciding how simplified you want the explanation to be. So suffice to say, eating is the opposite of hormone sensitive lipase, or insulin is the opposite of it, and you want it. It's a positive thing. OMAD, just like intermittent fasting or long-term fasting, are really just more tools in your toolbox, and they're definitely facilitated by low carbohydrate, high fat diets or ketogenic diets. But the ketogenic diet is not required. People can do it without, and vegans do it, but typically even vegans can be ketogenic. They just get their fat a different way, right? They get everything from plant sources, but it can be done. There are people out there who do it. So the idea is just that the ketogenic diet makes all this much easier. So it's important to remember that this ketogenic fasting project involves more than just being on a ketogenic diet or just fasting. One isn't necessarily required to work in conjunction with the other. But it does. They're both tools that lower blood sugar. So the ketogenic diet promotes lower insulin and lower blood sugar. Fasting promotes lower insulin and lower blood sugar. Both of them help you get your body fat down into a healthy range. They lower inflammation in the body, and they make it easier to exercise and pursue a level of fitness. So the basics, even if you're not in a state of ketosis or fasting, avoid any processed carbohydrates. Know what's in your food, which means read the labels if you're eating food with labels, and if they don't have labels, look it up and know what's in it. There's a lot of sort of wives' tales or misnomers, or we've just been fed the wrong information about foods. So hardly, you ask how many people are, how much sugar or how many calories in a banana, they don't know, but they'll tell you it's got lots of potassium. It's a good source of potassium. Same thing with orange juice or something like that. So understand your macronutrients, which is fat, protein, and carbohydrate. Know what's in the foods, and through that you can control your hormones. Keep learning. It'll help you stay excited. That's one of the reasons why I do these videos, so I can look for new information, relearn stuff that I might have forgotten, reinforce things, figure out how stuff is tied together, help other people stay excited, because it's really important that we all fight high blood sugar, high blood pressure, fight cancer. We all know people with all these problems. Help repair joints. I know 3 people who have knee replacements recently, and one of them had 2 knees done at the same time. And then I also know somebody who had a hip replaced recently. So, and all these people are relatively young. We're talking probably 50 and less. So, and they're active people for the most part. And by keeping your blood sugar down, those joints last longer. they're able to repair, especially if you eat, meats like pork shoulder with lots of connective tissue and bone marrow in them. It helps your body absorb the building blocks it needs to repair joints. I mean, that's why they sell you pills with glucosamine and chondroitin in them, because those are joint components, as it were. But it's much better just to get them from your food. So this is the end of this one. This is one of my shortest videos, coming in at just about 11 minutes. Please subscribe, and thanks for watching, and keep your eyes out for the next video.